In the streets walks many manipulations to the said religion. To the said religion. I'm alright, man. Did you have a cigarette? I don't smoke. To the said religion in the Bible that talks about the sanctuary and the Persian with the Mede, standing against self, understanding the book of Daniel 8, standing against self. When in the book of Daniel 8 it talks about the Persian and the Mede trotting on the stars, while the people in the streets are used as a storehouse or a gas station, or a foreign country coming in to work the places that a bot system coming to work the places where you are in order for fall of man to take place. The shepherd and Jesus Christ who smites the shepherd in the manner of sacrificing his name in the people's mouth. They call it Jesus Christ because the majority of the government or the idol or the law is covered in all of the children of Beowulf. Beowulf, who was overtaken in his birth of Caesar, and in his birth of Caesar, and he orchestrated a strip club that wears nothing but livestock sacrifice in that manner, and then the practice of law in it, Jackal and Hyde, Perseus, and Caesar, whereas Jesus Christ is with Hercules, who had defeated the whole situation, being arrested by Artaxerxes and Herod, his father. Herod, his father, and thrown in prison, and the prison was Jesus Christ, slewing everything around him. All of the people, mostly related to family, is the concept of Hercules with the three sisters at the golden tree, where he falls asleep, and in my understanding, he can't see, not really fall asleep, but his mind is arrested where he can't see that it's his family amongst all of the idols and the presidents and the police officers who come in to add to it, amongst all the strip clubs with Caesar who come to add to it. And Hercules slew them all. He could not see, he was asleep. His brain was no longer awake with God Almighty, but he had made himself equal to Hades, who is the main orchestra of judging with the chains of death, as he comes down to judge death with the chain of the church, which is the dark church, in said to be the bull, the golden bull that is no longer golden in the eyes, but the worms of the inheritance of Loki in the cave of Andvari is capable of turning the black stone, the stones of our eyes, the black stones, the stones of our soul, the windows of our soul, the black stone into gold, and given back to the great god Anakim, who had raised up darkness and fought a war. He raised up darkness against it's believed to be his own father Orion, who raised up the darkness between the African race, the full-bred African race, and the Indian race. They raised up darkness, and they studied in their own war between uh, Anakim and his father, and uh, eventually it all turned dark, and they lost the gold that was in the stars. Also, in the raising up from that gold, the races of the African, full-bred African, and the races of the full-bred Indian. And in this idea of the one who is called the Persian with the mean, the radio, the griffin bird, is also the sanctuary, for the Father is like the Son, and the Son is like the Father. And this is something that could not be seen, something that in the omniscience of God could not be felt in the form of an intuition or wisdom or knowledge that is already yours because uh, it's written in the stars. Hercules had slew everything around him, and it was the law that did this to him. It was Herod, his father. It was the law that did this to him. It was the people in his arena, in the bot government or the bot arena, that did this to him. And he had slewed his entire family from the stars. And I'm not sure if that means burned his star out and fell to the earth. And the earth was populated in flesh after the dark races and the dark war. It was populated in flesh, and Adam and Eve was the whole uh, wars with the angels. And it might have been the angel war, it might have been a war in the flesh, but a war over Adam and Eve in the dark races that were studied before Adam and Eve was created, and God saying, do not be like them, do not eat from that tree, the fruit, the forbidden fruit of world conflict. Do not eat from that law. Do not eat from that war. Do not eat from that violence. Do not eat from that hatred. But they had forced Hercules, and there was no way out. They had made a man, in my idea, desolate, like it reads in the book of Daniel 12. They had made a man desolate and forced to fight for his own uh, life. And in doing so, he destroyed all things and was called the king or the lord over Hades, which is said to be the one that comes down and judges with the chains of death at the right hand of the throne, and the left hand of the throne with the shield and with the sword that is able to enter into heaven. Jesus Christ, who has inherited the land through St. Matthew, and St. Matthew, who has inherited the stars through Jesus Christ at the right hand of the Lord of Lords, King of Kings. A fall of man or a salvation, or both, a rise, a fall, rise again. But a real king does not choose the punishment of God's children. But in the ark is there the jackal and hide. The ark is the golden bull with all of the covenants in this room, and other covenants in different livestock animals, with the explanation of do not eat from these hooved creatures that are split and so on, meaning a spiritual eating of war, violence, hatred, anger, or a spiritual eating of love and peace and constitutions for freedom from the law of spiritual warfares that mostly come from foreign government with their idols and their great movies that everybody loves, but the law hates society. The law hates society, but they watch TV and it's well loved. You understand the things that I'm trying to get across. But uh, Hercules, who fought and claimed his throne in the crown of Jesus, with Saint Matthew able to give back to the stars and able to give to the earth life everlasting, so as long as uh, the throne itself, Hercules, equal to Orion by the defeat of Hades. As long as the throne himself, Saint Matthew, Jesus Christ, Hercules, even the law, Perseus, that goes against God's will, Jekyll and Hyde, Caesar, who goes against God's will, Jekyll and Hyde, Perseus and Caesar are part of artexerxes, and Hercules a part of King David wiglaf, who was favored by Hades, and then Saint Matthew, the thief with Jesus Christ, the thief with the pig of the bosom, in the two pigs, Perseus and Hercules of Circe, in Herod's family, favored by Zeus. That throne right there, as long as that throne is not rejected, the people have everlasting life and prosperity with wisdom, and God is pleased with uh, his spiritual system, and everybody eventually finds a peace instead of a war. Understanding the wisdom is for uh, what is the word? Not exaltation, but for a preaching and spreading the gospel and exaltation.